Hello and welcome back to the Owen Glendale Model Railway, and in this video we'll be reviewing this Bachmann Standard 4. This locomotive was purchased by me at the Forum Railway Model Expedition for a price of £85. I had a bit of a interest in the British Standard class locomotives, and it was an excellent bargain I gotten for this one. Now it's time to take it out of the box and put it onto the turntable to see the details up close and personal. Here we are at the turntable with the Bachmann Standard Class 4. This is a very interesting locomotive. The livery is beautifully applied to this locomotive, such as the Brunswick green. The lining is quite nicely done, but we'll talk more of that when we get a little bit closer into the locomotive so we can visualize the details of its locomotive more accurately. I do notice that not many of the BR standard classes receive as much love as the pre-grouping or grouping locomotives. And hopefully with this video they might get a little bit more popularity. Now we'll just get a little bit closer so we can visualize the details of this loco. Here we are at the side of the standard class 4, and you could see straight away how beautifully and crisp the lining is on this locomotive. The satin finish from the Brunswick green is beautiful. That's one thing you can always get with a Bachmann locomotive. It doesn't matter how old the locomotive is, that beautiful shine on each model is such a simple joy to look at. It may not be realistic in some locomotives cases, but still, it's pretty interesting to see. We go over to the cab section, the numbers, cab lining. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh yes, this locomotive does come, if I'm careful enough, I can demonstrate the opening cab feature. Yep, you can, a sliding open cab, which is very impressive for this locomotive. We go over to the front section of the cab of the locomotive, and you see on the front splasher, which would be a works plate initializing where the locomotive was built. And we go to the smoke box area of the front part of the locomotive. You got the shed allocation number and the number of the locomotive. Beautifully applied. You go over to the cab area, which I know you can't see much, but with the view, but there is good cab detail on this locomotive. We go, oh yeah, just so that you know, we can easily shut that, but you can open it a little bit more wider. It's just the fact is, I'm normally a bit careful when dealing with things like that, just in case I could accidentally damage them. We go over to the tender. Again, just like the rest of the body of the locomotive, the livery is beautifully applied, such as the lining, the British Railway insignia, and the little details on the axle boxes of this loco. Fairly realistic coal load, but if you want to put your own in, you could easily remove it. Go to the rear section of the locomotive. You have the water capacity, as well as the shed allegation where it was built, the ladder, sprung buffers, and a decent coupling, which is mighty impressive for locomotives such as this, but I know that this one was part of a pack originally, which the locomotive was separated from it. But it is still an excellent locomotive. It does have a plastic whistle, metal safety valves. This locomotive has a lot in detail and shows it quite well. Now we'll tell the story of the BR Standard Class 4. The BR Standard Class 4 was designed by Robert Riddles, built between 1951 and 1957, with 80 locomotives built. They were designed for mixed traffic work such as passenger services as well as freight services. They were used on secondary routes where otherwise bigger locomotives such as the BR Standard Class 5 and their predecessors such as the Black 5 were too heavy due to weight restrictions. They were initially a tender version of the Standard Class 4 tank engine, with similar characteristics to the Great Western Manor. Unlike the Manors, they were built to the universal loading gauge. The class was initially allocated to the London Midlands region, where 45 of the locomotives were put, and the Western region received 20 of the locomotives, and the last 15 were allocated to the Southern region. They continued on in service up until 1964, where withdrawals began, and continued on until 1968, when the last one was withdrawn from service. Nowadays, there's only 6 locomotives in preservation, with the remainder scrapped. Now we'll go on to the track and see what this locomotive has to show. Here we are at the track with the Bachmann Standard Class 4, and we're going with a British Rail livery running session. So running with the Bachmann Standard Class 4 today, we have these 7 coaches. To my knowledge, that the Standard Class 4 did operate in the southern region, so these would be perfect for this locomotive. And on the second line we have this. This is a Hornby Saint class with some classic Great Western coaches. And on the third line we have a Bachmann IVAC 2 with some chocolate and cream coaches. Should be an enjoyable running session. Now it's time to watch these locomotives show us what they're made of. Another fun and exciting running session comes to an end. My final thoughts on the Bachmann Standard Class 4. It is a superb locomotive, runs as smooth as silk, details as far as the eye could see. You just simply can't ask for a better locomotive than this. And it would be a perfect addition to anyone's model locomotive collection. It is a superb locomotive. That concludes my review of the Bachmann Standard Class 4. If you liked the video, please like, share and subscribe to the Lone Ranger Motoring channel. If you have any ideas for future videos, please put them down in the comments as long as they are possible and feasible. We will always might even consider it a try, some of these ideas. Because we do read every comment you put down and my brother does answer them. We do take the subscribers who subscribe to our beautiful channel very seriously. My final thoughts are I hope you all have a good and pleasant day, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Until the next time, see ya.